Bruce Arians, the former Bucs head coach, was in a press conference in 2020 being asked about the signing of AB. He was quoted as saying, "If he screws up once, he's gone." Well, it took him long enough, but he screwed up in December 2021. AB was put on the spot by Steven Ruiz, his personal chef, who said AB owed him $10,000 in unpaid fees again, but the chef alleged that AB's vaccination card was fake. Now, this was back when COVID policies were very strict in the NFL, and people were getting in trouble left and right for not being vaccinated, including Aaron Rodgers. So having a fake vaccination card was a big deal, which was investigated and proven by the NFL, along with Bucs safety Mike Edwards, who also had a fake card. Both players were suspended for 3 games. But how about it, Bruce? He screwed up, didn't he? Are you going to stick to your guns and fire him or not? Nope, AB stuck around. The Bucs would take some heat for letting him play afterward, but after a few weeks, nobody really cared. But as soon as he waited out his 3-game suspension, that's when AB would prove to them that they should have fired him on the spot. Week 17, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Jets, January 2nd, 2022. The Bucs have already decisively secured a spot in the playoffs and are wrapping up the regular season. It should have been a blowout win for the Bucs, but they are putting up an embarrassing struggle against the Jets. And then, halfway through the third quarter, AB did the unthinkable. Cameras pan over to an infuriated AB, ripping off his jersey, helmet, pads, and gloves, most of which he threw to the crowd. Fans and commentators watched speechless as a shirtless AB ran off the field on live television, quitting on the Buccaneers. Now, the Buccaneers would pull off a miracle last-minute win against New York despite this, but nobody cared about that. All the public wanted to know was what the hell just happened with AB. There was a single question the NFL world wanted to know. Why? Why did this go down? What pissed off AB so much that he just quit mid-game? I wish I could give you a straight answer, but there is no solid truth at the moment. We do, however, have a couple of theories as to what happened, backed up with hard evidence. First, let's address AB's side of the story. AB claimed that his ankle was injured and he was sitting on the sidelines because it hurt so bad, and that Bruce Arians approached him and commanded him to get back on the field despite his ankle injury. When AB refused, Bruce Arians told him to get out. Now, Bruce Arians did confirm that he told AB to get back on the field, and when he refused, he told him to get out. That part is confirmed by both parties, but where they disagree is that ankle injury. Bruce Arians would give a press conference where he claimed that AB was pissed off that he wasn't being targeted by Tom Brady. This would later be confirmed by wide receiver Mike Evans in February of 22, who was questioned on the AB issue, and he said, quote, he was saying he wanted the rock, the football, and would also be confirmed by AB himself in a long social media rant where he says, quote, Tom said he would throw it if I came to play hurt, I came. He didn't throw it. Imagine being hurt having to play through this and being lied to. Well, there's your motive. Now, what you're looking at right now is the MRI of his ankle. And yeah, it looks pretty serious. I suppose there is evidence that he was playing through this injury at the time.
Hold it!
Wait, that picture, that monitor. Wait, zoom and enhance that top right corner. The date on this MRI reads October 15th. This MRI is nearly 3 months old. Now, a doctor can be heard in the video going over an ankle spur, which in most cases only takes a few weeks to heal. So there is little to no chance he was suffering through an ankle spur in January. He would later shamefully delete this post, all but confirming that it was faulty evidence. AB had multiple witnesses, including himself, pointing to an ulterior motive. According to all of this, I will say there is substantial evidence siding with Bruce Arians' side of the story. Oh, and also he accidentally shared his bank account information on Instagram when he was complaining about money he owed Alex Guerrera. One more crazy fact and then we'll dive into the aftermath. The night before the game, AB snuck TikTok/OnlyFans star Ava Louise into his hotel room. You know, the girl who went viral on TikTok for being a COVID denier and licked toilet seats during the pandemic to show how it was all a hoax. The girl that's been on multiple episodes of Dr. Phil, the OnlyFans model. Yeah, AB talked her into a one-night stand before the game in New York the next day, which he wanted to tape and put on her OnlyFans, but thankfully that never happened. Ava went through with the stand, but then went online and exposed every last detail of what happened. She shared the entire texting spree and went on radio shows saying that he went 2 rounds and lasted 30 seconds each time. Yeesh. And also mentioned that he kept muttering, "Watch what I do tomorrow." Now, the only thing that can be confirmed as true is that she was there and that the text messages are authentic, which I will link in an article below. Everything else is the hearsay of Ava Louise, who, by the way, is a complete dumbass and is not a credible source at all. But if that's true, and if he was hinting at running off the field the night before, and if everything was premeditated, then that makes room for a theory that it was all a publicity stunt to further his rap career. This is supported by the fact that he dropped Pit Not the Palace hours after the incident, when all eyes and all headlines were on him. Now I'm gonna quickly cover this song before we move on. So yeah, AB released a rap single just a few hours after he quit the Jets game, and I gave it a listen, and I will say that I was impressed at how poetic it was. So I'll give you a little history lesson here. So the name of the song originates from a common saying, "from the pit to the palace," which is most commonly derived from the book of Genesis. The main theme of the passage is that many people go through life waiting for the one big break that will bring them riches and fame and power, and tells the story of a man drafted into the armed forces who is eventually able to bring himself to be the second most powerful man in Egypt next to the pharaoh, going from the pit to the palace. Now, many comparisons from this can be drawn to AB's life, how he grew up in the ghetto in Liberty City to being an incredibly successful athlete, going from the pit to the palace. However, that's where AB throws in an unexpected twist, because the name of the song, Pit Not the Palace, slightly alters the saying, a subtle but very important distinction that changes the meaning entirely. Instead of writing about how he came from being homeless to being one of the most famous figures in the NFL, he writes about how he is not from the palace, as many would assume. And while, yes, he is in the palace in a physical and tangible sense, he laments on how, in an emotional sense, he is very much still in the pit. And on this track, we hear AB like we never have before, breaking down the walls of his ego and pointing the finger at himself. He talks about how he hasn't matured as much as he should have, and that his past has left long-lasting traumas that have inhibited his growth as a person. It's here where we really explore the duality of his being, the palace, the rich egotistical superstar that we all have come to know, and the pit, the side of himself that he hides from the rest of the world, the side that harbors all of his traumas and insecurity, a side that he hides because of how he was raised as a child, how his father raised him not to be emotional because it shows weakness. Because of this, he criticizes the culture around this style of raising young men, and how being raised like that has only made him weaker in the long run. But he still points the finger at himself for not being mature enough to figure that out sooner. And even though he may be in the palace physically, he's very much in the pit mentally. If you believed any of that for a second, you should be ashamed of yourself. Here's the actual song.
I'm from the pit, not the palace. I'm kinda stylish.
Oh, it's shit! It's shit! It's shit! It's shit! Ah!
Don't you feel robbed of a good song? Robbed of a redemption arc? I know I do, and that's why I'm going to vent my unfathomable disappointment with this song. We're going to focus on 3 key aspects: production, performance, and lyrics. The PPL is the criteria I use to grade songs, and it doesn't have to succeed in all 3 categories in order to be a good song, although it is very much possible. I theorize that as long as a song excels in at least one of these categories, it can be labeled a good song. If the production and performance are so-so, then the lyrics have to be really good to balance out, and vice versa. But here's the problem. Pit Not the Palace fails in all 3 categories, and I'm going to carefully explain why. The production on the song is unremarkable and forgettable at best, but it's fine, I guess. It sounds about as good as any other rap beat.
Get out the muscle. This is no tussle. I don't gotta touch her. I get the beat.
And what's interesting is that I can't find a credited producer for the song anywhere. Maybe they didn't want their name on it, maybe he bought the beat off of a stock music site, I have no idea. The beat is aggressive and it commands energy, and this is where he fails in performance. Don't let the beat fool you, he has little to no energy on this track. If he did, it would make a huge difference. For example, take NLE Choppa's Shotta flow. The production and lyrics on both songs are somewhat similar, they're at least comparable. So what makes Shotta flow great and Pit Not the Palace awful? Energy. No matter how many times I listen to Shotta flow, I always feel hyped, because his energy is contagious, whereas listening to Pit Not the Palace makes me feel nothing, because his delivery of each line is so boring. If anything, it makes me feel sleepy. Who needs melatonin when you can put on Pit Not the Palace and be out in seconds? And I do mean seconds. Before I get into the lyrics, we need to talk about the awful structure of the song. When you play the song, you're treated to this.
Hey, B, man, I've been sitting back waiting for the moment, man, to see you run down the field again, brother. I told you from day one.
An anonymous man on the phone talking up AB. This goes on for 20 seconds, and then the song begins. Okay, let's pause here. What was the point of that? Who is the phone guy? Is that his dad? His friend? Is that an NFL player? Whatever, let's keep going. It goes chorus, verse 1, chorus, and then it ends, with the phone guy coming back for 30 seconds, and the beat fades out for the remaining 10. If you cut out all of the meaningless phone guy shit, the song is an unacceptable 57 seconds long. So what's the point of phone guy? You could argue that it's used as a build-up to set the tone of the song. Think about Kendrick Lamar's Wesley's Theory. Wesley's Theory begins with this, a sample of a Boris Gardner song that I can't say the name of. This goes on for 45 seconds, way longer than 20, but it works incredibly well, because Wesley's Theory is the first song on Kendrick's album To Pimp a Butterfly, and this sample immediately sets the tone and theme of Black Pride for the rest of the album, and it's an actual song you can groove to for a little bit before Kendrick slaps you with an amazing song.
Platinum on everything, platinum on one ray, married to the game and a bad bitch shows. When I get signed on me, I'ma buy a strap, straight from the CIA, set it on my lap.
Build-ups like these work very well on the first track of an album, because it's a great way to immediately set the tone. What I mean to say is that it's so much less effective on a single like Pit Not the Palace, and it's a shit song, so the build-up just wastes your time. In fact, that's exactly why the phone guy exists. AB couldn't rap for more than 1 minute, so all the phone guy bullshit is there to inflate the runtime so that the song looks just a little better. The fact that it exists feels like an insult to my intelligence. Like, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I can't see that half of the runtime of the song is just not the song? And then there's the lyrics. Perhaps my biggest criticism and disappointment lies in the lyrics. Now, to succeed lyrically, you can do it in multiple ways. You can succeed with lyrical creativity, meaning that a song has excellent bars, wordplay, flow, and, well, creativity. You can also succeed in lyrical depth, meaning that a song tells a meaningful story, provides social commentary, or has a powerful theme or message. And of course, AB fails miserably in both. There isn't really much to say here because the song is embarrassingly short, so I'll just put the lyrics up here for a bit. The chorus repeats, so this is everything he wrote. Take it all in. These are some of the least creative lyrics I've ever seen. It all looks like it was written by an emotionless robot, and it goes without saying, but there is no story, no commentary, no theme, no message, no goddamn point. His lack of writing talent cripples any chance of him being a good rapper, which sucks because I really wish he would tell his story. His life is incredibly interesting. I wouldn't be doing this video series if his life was boring. AB, you have a story to tell. Tell us your story through music. So many great rappers were born in the ghetto in broken households, and they channel that pain into their music to become fantastic artists. Now, I'll give him credit. AB does mention life in the ghetto in this song right here. It's so little that it's insulting. There have been some fantastic albums made around the premise of growing up in the hood, and AB's life goes so far beyond that. If I can make multiple 20-minute videos analyzing his life, then he could make at least one album just rapping about his life. I mean, what more is there to say? The song is 57 seconds long. I could have just said that and moved on. But if you want to hear more about his music, my friend Elias and I reviewed his entire debut album that came out shortly after on April 20th. Link is in the description.
The whole world calling me nothing nuts. I'm about to catch me a nut. Pause. I'm about to catch me a nut, guys.
So AB was a free agent. Until further notice. Well then, that makes it 4 teams that he's been fired by. Will there be a 5th? I would say it's unlikely, but not impossible. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, is one of his good friends, and AB's cousin Hollywood Brown plays for the Ravens too. Well, shit. AB has hinted at playing for the Ravens in 2022 and would later hint at playing for the Browns and Cowboys as well, and has been sporting a free agent jacket. He's clearly ready and desperate to go another round with the NFL, but is anybody going to give him a chance? I mean, the entire nation watched him quit on his team when they needed him most. What NFL GM is gonna look at this and think, well, gentlemen, this here is Antonio Brown. He's very problematic, has many unresolved issues, and has allegedly hurt a lot of people, but the man is an incredible player, and I want him in our organization. Oh my god, the Browns are going to sign him. I mean, Brown isn't his name. It's what he's destined to do. Okay, in all seriousness, no team has come out saying they're interested in AB so far. And after that stunt he pulled in January, it's unlikely that he will ever play again. But who knows? There may be a team desperate enough for a star receiver down the line. Yeah, we're not done yet. He may be done, hopefully, with football, but life goes on for AB. Since the January incident, he's been all over the place. He was on an episode of the Impulsive podcast where he relayed his side of the story, which, as I said, is most likely definitely fabricated. He's been clubbing it up with Floyd Mayweather and attending NBA games in the front row. He even attended Super Bowl 56 in the presidential suite with his new best friend, Kanye West. Kanye and AB have been working together on their new fashion line, Donda Sports, a fashion line designed for athletes, which Aaron Donald has surprisingly joined recently. Kanye generously promoted AB as the president of the company. I can only imagine how that meeting went down.
I know what you're thinking. He is the least qualified person in the world to lead us. And you are right.
Let's take a look at their website. I'm curious to see what they have to offer. Wait, this is it? I must have clicked on the wrong website. Wait, no, this is it. This is their entire selection. A $200 black hoodie with a faded logo on it, a $140 pair of black shorts, and $60 socks. How many socks come with it? Three pairs? The website is so simplistic that I don't know what's going on. All of which are sold out and reportedly take 2 to 3 months to ship. This website is embarrassingly shit. I could probably make a better website with a YouTube tutorial. I'm not going to, but I probably could. Maybe this will be like a Cloak situation where they have an awful release and gradually start making things I want to spend money on. AB and West are also reportedly very serious about buying the entirety of the Denver Broncos, which is something they probably do not have enough money for. There's been something of a bidding war for the Denver Broncos lately, and the team is worth roughly $4 billion. AB's net worth is about $20 million, while Kanye, being the richest black man in US history, is valued at $6.6 billion. That seems like enough, right? Well, that's his net worth, not his bank account. Your net worth is the total value of all of your assets combined, and $5 billion of that net worth is the value of the Yeezy fashion company, which he has 100% ownership over, and another $1 billion comes from a deal with the Gap. So unless he plans on selling Yeezy, there's no way in hell these two can afford it. Now, going back to Floyd Mayweather, him and AB are such good friends that Floyd has made an interesting proposition to all NFL teams. If an NFL team signs AB and he plays the whole season, then they pay AB $20 million. If AB screws up, then Floyd will pay the team $20 million. And no, this wasn't a joke.
You had your opportunities. Had opportunity in Pittsburgh, messed that up. Had opportunity in Oakland, messed that up. Had opportunity in New England, messed that up. Had an opportunity in Tampa, messed that up. Now he got a homeboy betting $20 million that he can behave when he had $30 million and all he had to do was behave and he couldn't do it.
No team in their right mind is going to give him any more than $500K, not to mention that AB is refusing to get surgery on his definitely not injured ankle until a team signs him. Well, that just makes you even more of a liability. Why do you think a superstar like Odell Beckham Jr. still hasn't been signed? Because he tore his ACL again during the Super Bowl and nobody knows if he can play again yet. No team is going to pay you $20 million if they think you're walking in injured, you idiot. In June of 22, he was sued by a company called Phantom Labs for $31,000 in unpaid fees. Again, Phantom Labs helped AB set up a community outreach event in LA the day before the Super Bowl, and I guess he just didn't want to pay them. As far as I can tell, this lawsuit hasn't been settled publicly yet. Okay, it is unbelievable how often he doesn't pay people he employs. I mean, it's not like he's a cheap guy. He burns money like there's no tomorrow. I'm expecting his bank to call him any day now telling him that he's out of money. At this rate, he has to have a worse credit score than Henry J. Hines. In March of 2022, he took to Instagram and posted photos of himself with model / Chris Brown's ex-girlfriend, Christine, where he posted pictures of their text messages where he was demanding the $5,000 she owed him but hasn't paid. He was demanding the $5,000 she owed him but hasn't paid. He was demanding the $5,000 she owed him but hasn't, and threatened to expose her if she didn't pay up. It's not clear what expose her means, but I'm going to assume it was nudes because they were in bed together. Christine's nudes never got leaked and she didn't go public about it, so I'm going to assume she paid AB after he allegedly ransomed her nudes. And that's really the Antonio Brown story as we know it. A man who fell from the graces of being an NFL superstar into that of a destructive, disloyal, and deranged man. But why? Is he just an evil person who causes drama everywhere he goes? Well, that kinda depends. Let's go back in time all the way to January 2016 when he was still with the Steelers. Steelers versus Bengals, AFC wildcard round. It's the first round of the 2015 playoffs, and both teams are fighting tooth and nail to make it through. The Steelers would come out on top in a very close 18-16 win that day, but the victory wasn't without a major casualty, because that was the day of the perfect hit.
On the sideline, the whole time it seemed like Vontaze perfect, and yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Brown is still down.
That's, of course, flagrant.
Out of control.
Out of control. It's going to be everything. That's going to be suspension, fine.
Vontaze Burfict is widely regarded as the dirtiest NFL player of all time. He has been suspended over and over again for highly illegal and dangerous tackles, and he would deliver one of those tackles that day to AB, sending him into a concussion almost instantly as his body ragdolled right after the hit. AB was taken out of the following week's playoff game under concussion protocol, where the Steelers would lose 16-23 to the Broncos, who would go on to win Super Bowl 50 that year. But many say that this hit on AB was the beginning of his downward spiral, and that it inflicted a mental disorder known as CTE.
I totally excuse Antonio Brown if that perfect hit that Rodney Harrison and others have alluded to, caused some CTE symptoms.
Okay.
I'm not, if that's what this is, I back off totally because you got head issue.
CTE is caused by repeated concussions or blows to the head and is unfortunately common within the NFL. Some of the symptoms include memory loss, confusion, impaired judgment, impulse control problems, aggression, anxiety, and eventually progressive dementia. Check, check, check. It's nearly a fact that AB suffers from CTE, whether it was inflicted by Burfict or not. But we don't know for sure because AB isn't officially diagnosed. He has denied that anything is wrong with his mental health and has refused to seek help. If he has bad impulse control and anger issues as a result of mental illness, then I'm willing to forgive most of the things that he has done, including quitting on the Bucs. That being said,
being mentally ill is not an excuse to act like a jackass, okay?
Because there are certain things that cannot be forgiven. I truly hope that he does the responsible thing and seeks mental help, because CTE can become very dangerous and life-altering as you age. In fact, according to new evidence, it's likely what killed the Broncos legend Demaryius Thomas recently. Nevertheless, I'm excited to see where his life leads next. Will he become the next big rapper? Will he be given another chance with the NFL? Only time will tell. I'm Better Call Bodie, and thanks for watching.